Just the music of ROBOTECH, which I think all of you would agree is one of the defining elements of the saga, and all of the people here have played a very important part in it. So first of all, my name is Dennis Bateman, longtime ROBOTECH fan. I had the privilege of being able to produce the ROBOTECH Perfect Soundtrack album, and to make it more than just a collection of music cues, but it's really one of the great experiences I ever had as a fan, as a person. But with me here, I just wanted to introduce our panelists. This is Thomas A. White, who is the executive music producer on the ROBOTECH TV series. And next to him is making his first ever convention appearance is Alberto Ruben Estevez, who is responsible for several of the unforgettable cues, particularly Mecha Storm and Rick Hunter's theme. And of course, we have the incomparable Rebecca Forstad. Not only the voice actress for Lin May, but the singing voice as well. And then we have Steve Whitmack, also a composer. He along with Bradley, composed the songs for Yellow Dancer, as well as the songs for the ROBOTECH movie, which
and Sentinels.
And ROBOTECH 2, The Sentinels. And of course, I did want to pass along best wishes from someone who's not able to be here, Michael Bradley, who wanted to convey his heartfelt appreciation over the many years for all the enthusiasm that ROBOTECH fans have shown him, both here in the United States and pretty much around the world, especially the very vocal and supportive contingent in South America. And also we're going to be able to discuss our memories of those who are no longer with us, namely Ulpio Benucci and Arlen Ober. And so just to begin with, ROBOTECH begins, I guess the saga begins in 1984 when Harmony Gold licensed Super Dimension Fortress Macross as one of their properties. And the first element, the first release was a direct-to-video release called Booby Trap. It was a 90-minute collection of the first 3 episodes of the Macross series. And Arlen Ober and Ulpio Benucci were hired to create a theme for the original, for the release. But somewhere along the way, a decision was made to instead go to direct syndication, which is how all 3 series came together. But one of the elements that needed to come into being was that a full soundtrack for the entire series was commissioned. And here I want to go ahead and turn it over to Tom White and to talk about the origins of how everything came together and all the personnel involved.
Well, hello. Can you give me a little gain, Steve?
Which one are you, Tommy?
I don't know.
3.
Keep talking.
3. Hello. No, wrong. There we go. And Steve, EQ that a little bit better, would you? With some upper mid-range.
We're not making.
He's an engineer. It's within his
Typical music executive, all right?
Good. Thank you. Okay. I appreciate the introduction, and nice to be here with everyone. And nice, 40 years after creation, we still have a high demand for the quality of the music. And let me tell you, we had wonderful creators, and that's the secret, if there is one. We had really creative people who did incredible work, and some of them are right here. And starting with Ulpio was a composer and a good friend, is Italian, of course, and I met him when I was president of an Italian record company. And we became good friends, and Ulpio is the one who invited me to ultimately become president of Harmony Gold Music and have the responsibility for supervising the music once I joined the company. And Ulpio had, at the very outset, Ulpio had written the theme, and the first foray I had into Robotech was attending the recording session with a full orchestra. Within reason, it wasn't Star Wars orchestra, but all original acoustic players, no supplementation with synthesizers. So these were real good professional players. We recorded the theme, and it went through an enhancement later with Chris Stone for Robotech the movie. But we were fortunate really in having Ulpio's brilliance and having Arlen Ober. Arlen was the film score composer for Eating Raoul and the Shadows of Kilimanjaro, which is a very good kind of, not quite a horror movie, but it's pretty tense. And if you haven't seen it, with John Rhys Davies, who's really good, and Rhys Davies played Gimli, if you know his work. So he's a great actor, deceased as far as I know. Anyway, we got a great collection of people together, and Ulpio, in addition to writing the theme, wrote some what I would call traditional children's songs, in the classic mode. And so that's when I joined Robotech, right at that point. And from that point forward, all the way to the conclusion, the music creation was under my discretion, and I did the best thing that any executive music producer or music supervisor could have done, which is to hire Steve Whitmack and Michael Bradley and Alberto down the road and later into the process. But I saw Alberto many times, and in the process, and he was always very forthcoming with ideas, and hey, I got something new I want to play for you. And so anyway, it all worked out extremely well, and I'll tell you, there's no greater satisfaction in creating music than having it appreciated decades after it was created. And just back to Steve for a moment, Michael is an incredible singer and has a wonderful performance history, but he and Steve wrote the music and produced it, and just did such a fantastic job. And what's so wonderful about it is that the high points to me in looking at the music as a whole from the series, including Robotech the movie, and just so you know, once you create a library, which is what we did, it gets used over and over. And it's used not only for what's called leitmotif, which is associated with a particular character, like Rhett Butler for Gone with the Wind. You know the Rhett Butler theme. Well, that's leitmotif, and it's used in classic Hollywood films even now, but has been since the outset of cinema. So we had that leitmotif. Flower of Life, for example, is a really brilliant piece of music, very thematic and sensitive and right to the point. So we got so fortunate in getting people that could write to script. And you got a scene, you have to deliver what that scene requires, and with nothing but professionalism and creativity. And it was really an exciting and dynamic process. And Carl and I really liked each other all the way until way after, and stayed in touch. And Carl was really a genius, and brought all of this from where it was to where his vision foresaw it. And there was nothing but harmony, and I pardon the pun, in terms of our working together and respecting one another. And this was like an incredibly successful creative partnership. And the creators on it stuck together like glue and supported each other, and that's good for creating entertainment product, and it's good for life. So I'm very fortunate to have been partnered with these brilliant, wonderful people. So I'll stop talking for a moment.
So, Alberto, how did you enter the picture? You had a personal connection.
Well, I was a jingle man at that moment. I was doing some, I did like 7 albums with Disney, and I was doing a little Lulu different things. And through the jingles, I met Frank Negram, and he told me, "You have great melodies. You have to be involved in this project." He said, "Have you been done something like this?" I said, "No." Well, welcome to the team. He introduced me to Ulpio, and we started to write songs from there. It was incredible with Gigi too, relationship, and I met Thomas. We have a great time and a great moment. Right?
Absolutely, yep. And you were, I just also say this, we used to see each other all the time because you were at Intersound and our office was right down the street of Sunset, and we'd pass each other and talk, you know. So we didn't need appointments, we just saw each other regularly enough. And Rebecca was over there all the time, you know, with her brilliance. And you know, and creating, you know, special moments, you know, for everyone to enjoy and empathize with. And that's talent. There's no substitute for it, and we had it. And, you know, we're so grateful to have been part of that kind of process.
I think that Frank was very smart to make a warm team.
Yep, that's harmony for you. Rebecca, now you tell me your unusual audition, because you were hired to be the voice actress for Lin-Min, but how did you get the singing gig?
Oh yeah, I think I've told this story a bunch of times. Well, some of you already know this, but well, you know, I'd been working there for about a year doing all kinds of little animes and stuff. And so I went in for the audition, and Bob Barron was the director, and they wanted me to just sing a song. And so the only song that I kind of knew was "It's My Party," so I just said, "It's my party," and I'll try, you know, and I didn't know any of the words. And somehow got the part, I don't know. It was crazy. I mean, I'd sung in some musicals before, but, you know, in theater, but wasn't really a singer. But I did take some singing lessons before I did it too.
And if you could play, we're going to play a little segment from the Macross Saga, which is one of the definitive moments in it. Oh, hold on just a moment.
Oh, I just want to make sure I have the right track. Is it the link that you originally sent?
No, it's the one.
The instrumental?
Rick Hunter? No.
Okay, I'll do the Rick Hunter.
Yeah, that's
coming into this.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So this is just an example of how music really defined Robotech.
And introduce the character,
Right.
a major character.
And now we present a display of aerial acrobatics demonstrating the amazing advances we have made through robo-technology. Lieutenant Commander Roy Cooper, leader of the Veritech Fighter Squadron, will describe the action for us.
Today, you'll see how we've applied human know-how to a complex alien technology. Keep your eyes on planes 2 and 4, flying at speeds of 800 miles per hour, only 50 feet above the ground. They will pass within just a few yards of one another. Robotechnology makes such precision possible. Huh? Oh, no! Rick! Is that you, Rick Hunter?
Roy, it's good to hear your voice, old buddy. I understand you're a lieutenant commander now.
Are you crazy? Get that junk heap out of here! Hunter, when I get my hands on you, I'm gonna... perfect fool on me?
Nobody's perfect, Commander.
You haven't changed a bit, have you? Well, this isn't your dad's amateur flying circus. My men are real pilots.
I'm gonna have to make you eat those words, Commander. Coming in.
Stop clowning around. Look out! Get out of there!
And that is, that composition was Rick Hunter's theme, courtesy of Senor Estevez. What I think is really amazing there is just the combination of the music with the visuals. It tells you everything you need to know about Rick Hunter, right then and there. I mean, it captures these youthful exuberance, his courage, and bravery, and also a sense of fun. And I think that was very early in the series. I mean, it was probably within the first 10 minutes of the show, but it really helped to set the show on the right course.
If Senior Estes, could you tell anything about how you came up with that particular theme? Do you have any memory of that?
Honestly, we were doing so many pieces at the same time that we didn't think it specific one song. We were recording different things and putting together, and this one note, this much. And we did so much music that I don't remember in the moment that we chose it.
Okay.
And what kind of a time frame were you working with as far as just the production of the soundtrack and the score? I mean, because there was such a limited time to get this all together.
There's never enough time, but you know, you look at inspirations in film history, and there's no difference between the way a film music is approached and the way we approached the music for ROBOTECH. It is a film score, and there's never enough time, but with diligence and a lot of pressure, you know, you make it. And occasionally you can do enhancements in the future. Like I mentioned a moment ago, we did enhance the theme with Chris Stone, and just to beef it up a bit and make it thicker. What we lacked in the number of musicians when we first recorded the theme, we then supplemented later, but we supplemented it with, I think, a Fairlight or an MU Systems, and Chris Stone was one of the only people in town that had one, and so we were fortunate to get him to work on the project. But it added instrument volume, and I mean thickness, the sense of more instruments through the supplementation. But the other issue about that you were raising about writing to a scene, you know, when you see something on paper and then you discuss it, a script, and you see it live in terms of the pre-existing footage, you get a pretty good sense as to what might work. But this is spotting, and spotting occurs when the film is completed, except for music, and maybe you have effects and maybe you don't. You know, one of the effects was the sort of sonic drums in the theme, that boom, 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 you know, but that's an effect. It's more an effect than music, and I think got a little bit overdone in my opinion, but nevertheless, the idea of writing to specification is a real challenge, but if you got the right people, which is the first criteria, you can then develop it, and by develop, I mean you work on ideas, some of them have potential and others don't, and when you're collaborating with people, as my guys did with me, and there's trust there, and there's respect, and you ask people sometimes to take risks, and they did. And all the people here, and sure, including Rebecca, even though, you know, Rebecca and I weren't working directly together, took risks. And if you get somebody that says, hey, you got it, that's brilliant, you put that in the can and you use it and you move on to the next cue or next assignment. So, you know, that's how it occurs. And fortunately, everyone that was working on the music had that professionalism and ability to write to specification, which you can't take for granted. Some people can't do it. And some people are kind of egocentric about it. And it's not collaborative, it's just you take what you get, so it's a yes or no decision. And that doesn't work too well unless, if it's a pre-existing piece of music, you say yes or no to it, but oftentimes it's not exactly what you need because this is customizing to a scene. So Steve and Michael, even though I know it wasn't always the most comfortable thing to do, they worked to accommodate everybody's needs and interests and make it better. And I think in doing that and listening to people that you trust, sometimes you can take, you know, the end result music from where it started to where you know it can be. And guess what? You've done 100% of it yourself. No one else can take credit for the brilliance that you've added to it. And that's what I think happened with all of the music, that it went from level A to level, you know, D or E or beyond, because of that flexibility and putting ego aside and putting the project first and putting the collaborative process first. And if you're trusting the right people, and that's not on automatic, but if the people that you're working with know what they're doing, and I think time has proven that was the case, you get a superior result and you make people happy for decades and generations.
So, Steve, if you could talk about how you came aboard the project and what were the experiences and the pressures that you were involved in, not only in the series, but perhaps also the movie.
Well, see if I'm on. Am I on? Yeah. There we go. Michael Bradley and I, we came here actually from Miami. We had been in bands and worked together, and I had produced his band, etc. We came here and we're just coming off 2 years before we met Tommy, a year and a half. We had written a song that was huge in Europe. And as luck would have it, we weren't getting money. So we ended up running into Tommy because we were going to have to go after the publishing company, etc. It's standard in the business. And Tommy said, hey, I'm working at this company and I got this project. I'd like you guys to try and write some songs for it if you would. I said, sure. He said, I got no budget and I got no time, but I think you could do a great job. So we go, and I've written, and Michael, we've written before for film, commercials, etc. And written the scripts. Tommy would call on a Tuesday and say, we've got a new scene we need a song for. Can you get down here? We go down there, great. I need it by Thursday. Well, we're talking about in the early 80s. We had just gotten our first synthesizer. I got my first sequencing software. All of this at the same time. So we would go home, either at his place or my place, and pound out a song, and we'd just start playing, and I'd hit something or he'd hit something, boom, that's it. We finished the song. Take it into Tommy. Oh, that's great. Well, this went on through the whole thing. Then he comes and says, this is going to come as a shock, but we're doing Robotech the movie. It's already been shot. I got no budget and no time, but we need 6 songs written and produced, and we need it in a month. Well, as it turns out, we only had to produce one. We had to produce 1 song. Out of all this, there are 2 songs that, out of the whole 2 projects, that I think really stuck with me. Do you have Lonely Soldier Boy on there?
I could find.
Play the video.
What's the other one?
The other one's from the movie
Okay.
called In My Heart.
Okay, just give me a moment.
Well,
Somebody did a
he's
video
going
for
for
that
the-
song.
I'm sorry?
Somebody did a video to Lonely Soldier Boy. It sculpts the whole 3rd generation with spins. It's cool. It's on there too.
I'm telling you something. My feeling was, and this is in the mid-'80s, and we were still fighting about stuff, and I always thought that that's the Lonely Soldier Boy song was a spectacular song and could have been used in a number of different applications. Didn't happen, and that's okay. And when we did the movie, we wrote the songs. This is kind of interesting. I had a 2-year-old daughter at the time. She happens to be sitting on the floor with her 2-year-old son in the back. My wife was a flight attendant. You got a month to do these songs. So we set up everything, started pounding out, writing songs. Michael would go back to his place and record stuff. I'd be recording back and forth. 2 weeks, we got the songs written. Then we go into the studio. Well, my wife was a flight attendant, so she's in and out of town. So my little 2-year-old daughter used to come and sit on the couch, and we had to play the music soft so we didn't blast her ears out. So we're doing all this, and Tommy says there's 1 song that was going to be special, and Tommy says, "Hey, I know 3 Dog Night. Now, we might be able to get them to sing this song." And we're going, hey, I grew up with 3 Dog Night. Michael and I did. Everybody in this room basically grew up with them, right? And Tommy puts a deal together. They come in, we play the song for him. Corey Wells, rest in peace, was going to sing the song. We played it. They loved the song, and he said, we said, all right, let's figure out the key. Well, we figured out the key, and we did it in that key. And by the way, we had to write, not the script, we had to write to what was on the screen. There's a song called Saved by Science, which is a dance class, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out what rhythm they're dancing in. They're singing other songs, they're singing, you gotta try and say, all right, we gotta have a lot of words right here, and there's gonna be just a little bit here, right? So anyway, we get to the studio, we cut all these things, 3 Dog Night comes in. Now, 3 Dog Night, Chuck was completely sober. These guys were completely professional. Wow. We get into cutting the lead vocal, and we go through it once, and Corey says, any way we can drop it like a step, because it seems a little high. Well, this is the mid-'80s. Now you just go boom like that and everything goes down. Mid-'80s, no, we'd have to re-record the whole darn thing. So he gutted it out, but that was probably one of the most enjoyable experiences of my life. You know, getting to produce somebody that you really idolized all these years. And in cover bands and stuff, we used to cover their songs all the time. So it was a marvelous experience. Little inside baseball on the end of In My Heart. We were mixing. Oh, and we had to do 4 mixes. We had to do the film mix, a Dolby mix, a stereo mix, and a mono mix. Okay, And we got a month, we got 2 weeks to do this. Well, we were getting kind of stupid because we were spending so many hours in the studio. When it got to In My Heart, the engineer, who is not with us anymore, said, let's have some fun here on the fade. Well, the fade, for those of you that don't understand, the fade is the end of the song where the song just kind of fades out, all right? Well, what we did, and if any of you have it or want to listen to it, you can kind of hear, what he did is he pulled the tape away from the capstan. In other words, he pulled the tape away from the tape head. So all of a sudden it sounded like this, it doesn't fade, it just gets all mumbly and jumbly. So that's, and nobody noticed, nobody said anything. But we got it done on time, on budget, and it was just it was a marvelous experience.
Yeah, Steve, and Three Dog Night rose to the occasion, even though they were caught off guard by the key change.
Yes, yeah. They were
And it sounded great.
pros. They were total professionals. Did you find either one of them?
Yeah.
Play a few minutes, a few seconds.
You can, yeah.
You can play just a little
Play the
bit of
first
each of them, but you'll. So, that was Michael, and he, as Tommy said, the guy has got a voice to die for. You got In My Heart? You got that one?
Well, an interesting little aside to Lonely Soldier Boy is that the original, for those of you who are familiar with the original series, Genesis Climber Mosquito, in the opening title, there is a lyric that says Lonely Soldier Boy in English. And the song, as it's been told to me by Carl Masick, that it resulted out as a misunderstanding because he tried to give the direction to Michael to, whatever you do, don't put a lyric called Lonely Soldier Boy. And Michael took it to be the opposite.
But it worked.
That's the way magic happens. I think if I can add, just if you could read the Southern Cross
Okay.
segment.
Maybe
You-
we'll circle
Or you
back.
want to?
Let's play a little bit.
A few seconds of this?
Yeah, go ahead.
do it, yeah.
Let's
All right,
do
just do the
let's
first
hear Three
chorus.
Dog Night.
Okay, we're scores? All right.
While you're queuing that up, Steve, don't you think we should mention the female vocalist?
Go ahead and play.
Oh, yeah, Joanne Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was great. She was a background singer that we had worked with. We were on tour with Connie Francis or something like that. I can't remember. Some goofy thing. Anyway, wonderful girl. Working really hard. Singer, part of all.
Crank it.
In my mind, head
Steve,
Anyway.
you wrote that, baby.
Huh?
You wrote that.
Yeah. Me and Michael, I'll tell you something. And what we tried to do, most importantly, was write the song for Three Dog Night. When he said it's going to be Three Dog Night, you can tell it works for Corey's voice, the harmonies, everything. That was a blast. I could sit here and talk all day about crazy stuff, but I'll pass it back.
But I remember, I mean, and one of the cruel ironies of the business is that the ROBOTECH movie never got a wide release, and the soundtrack, the songs got a limited foreign release. But I remember when we were in the process of putting together the soundtrack, when I heard the original master tapes, I was just like, oh my God, these songs need to be heard. And that was a mission that I had to, when we put together the soundtrack, that the songs, all the songs from ROBOTECH the movie, they just had to be heard. And Joanne Harris obviously does a great job. I mean,
Yeah.
if anyone's never heard the duet between Michael Bradley and Joanne Harris, Underground, it's also one of the
Underground was another song. Michael wrote, we split two songs up. Underground and Call on Me. Underground was basically a love song. They're gonna go off and be together. Call on Me was, I can't remember the character's name. Maybe one of you guys can remember what her name was.
Eve.
What?
Eve.
No, it wasn't he, it was a girl.
Eve, yeah.
The characters.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, she was, as I understood it at the time, kind of a spiritual kind of, anyway, so when I wrote that song, but it's got some weird rhythm, it's like in 5/4, and it's very robotic sounding. The other one, Underground, basically Michael, and he apologized for it. He says, I hope you don't mind, but I used a little bit of the concept with Rain, which was the song that we had written. He said for Underground, and the way it flowed and all that stuff, it was, I agree with you. There's a lot of stuff there that I think with a little more front office togetherness, I could say, this thing could have been much bigger and the songs could have. Interestingly enough, Michael has for the last 20, 30 years, whatever, he goes down every so often. He's got a huge fan base down in Chile, Paraguay, Argentina. There's a video of him somewhere, I've seen it, singing in a theater in South America, and the whole frickin' audience is singing the songs along with him. And you go, oh my God. So think of it, multiply that by what, 1,000 and you got worldwide, it would have been cool.
Now, Rebecca, we haven't been able to talk a whole lot about just the collaborative process, and when you were working with Ulpio on the songs, what was the experience like, and what kind of direction did he give you?
Oh, he was wonderful. He would invite me to his house and he'd play the piano, he'd play all these songs that he'd written and everything for me, and we just like rehearsed down in his, he had like a little studio. Yeah, and he'd give me wine and all kinds of stuff. I mean, he was really putting up with somebody that wasn't like what I would call a professional singer. So, but he was just so charming and everything. He made me become, much better than I really was. I was more of an actress who could sing a little bit, and we had a great time. In fact, I was even there when OJ got, his trial ended, and we were sitting there watching TV. But I absolutely adored him. He was just like such a great guy.
He was a real prince of a man. When we were in the studio mixing the soundtrack. Arlen and I kind of did the heavy lifting because Arlen had his notes from the compositions, and while I had, of course, obsessively watched the series countless times, so I knew every moment where the music cues had been used, and it was just a great combination. Meanwhile, Opio would sit there and we would play one of his tracks, and he would just sit back and go. It was just wonderful. He always praised the experience of working with Karl Machek. But you know, we were able to do this for those of you who were at RoboCon 10 back in 1995, and we were treated to that great mini concert. And we appreciate you. You don't sing quite so much, Nair, but
You don't know how nervous I was doing that.
But you know
I
what?
never could remember the words either.
Right. So, but you know, I'll tell you who knows the words. Everyone here.
I know.
So, and I didn't say before, but there is an audience participation component here. So if you could cue up Miss Macross, and so.
The instrumental? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, the instrumental.
Okay.
So everybody, you know, I'm sure you know the words.
Yes.
So this is the one chance to do it here.
You better impress these people.
I think it's pretty remarkable that there are so many of us that are still alive that worked on this thing.
Sitting up here.
It's 2025, and you're still using the same cable network? Frontier Fiber.
That was the hardest song, that one. I really had a hard time with that one.
Let's do it.
One. All right, everybody.
One and a two. Push play. Stateside flashing, the feeling smashing, my heart and soul belong to you. And I'm here now singing, all bells are ringing, my dream has finally come true. Stage light going, this is my big day, this is my time to be a star. And the thrill that I feel is really unreal, I can't believe I've come this far. This is my time to be a star.
Yeah, that is actually one of the songs that we didn't do in the mini concert. So just, boy, I guess we only got a couple of minutes left. But are there any questions from the audience? Oh.
Hi, Rebecca. Can you please talk about how you guys came up with We Will Win? Because, you know, every time I see the episode, which is now blanking on me right now.
Force of Arms.
Thank you,
47.
Force of
Yeah,
Arms.
Force.
Yeah, I get goosebumps every time it comes up. So I know it's a collaborative process with that.
You know, they gave me the song and I sang it. I don't know how they came up with it, really. It's like, here, sing this. I'm not really sure about that. I wish I could tell you. I just worked there.
And back then you had to sing it, you know,
Yeah.
you didn't have all the fancy stuff to make your voice sound, you know. We make her sound like Celine Dion back
Right,
then.
I mean, they could have done overlaps of,
Yeah.
you know, things like Annette or, you know, things like that to make me sound.
We have a question in the back.
Did you have a favorite song to sing?
Yeah, To Be in Love, I think I really liked because, I don't know, I could kind of act in it a little bit and it was just really nice and soft and it was much easier for me to sing. I like that one.
Yes.
Is the album going to be released or reissued at some point? Because I know it's kind of hard to find these days.
Well, you know, if it were up to any of us, you know, it would be on the top of Apple iTunes, you know, or you know, because we can't say that, you know, we want to be on record store shelves. Who goes to a record store anymore? But you know, that's for better or worse, is in the hands of Harmony Gold. Or what's left?
eBay.
Oh boy, but anyway, I think just the thing about the ROBOTECH soundtrack and the work that all the people here and those who are no longer with us is that it is a music composition that endures. And one of the things that is most important is that the soundtrack served as the glue that really held the series together. I don't know if any of you remember watching it the first time when the Macro saga ended and we jumped 15 years later with a whole new set of characters, all different mecha and uniforms and whatever, and it was jarring. It was truly disorienting, but the music anchored you. It was like, oh, the themes are still here. You get the rising action of you know where to go, and because all of us couldn't remember the music cues, the romantic themes, the action themes, and that was what kept the series together. I mean, it was it became an essential part of the ROBOTECH saga, and there's no other better way to portray that. And I think, could you play the end of the Southern Cross link?
I'll just take one quick moment to mention the glue that held things together on the music was significantly contributed to by John Mortarati.
Oh.
John was a brilliant music editor, and he really made material, constant contributions to the entire process. And I don't think we would have had the same result without him.
And this is a last little segment that in which music is used beautifully just to portray the emotions going into a final battle here. So go ahead.
An assault wave is cleared for launch.
Captain Toronto!
Oh.
I'm really sorry about all this.
Forget it, Dana. Thanks for everything.
Captain Nova! I just wanted to say come back safely.
Boy, oh boy. Don't worry, I will. Wait, Marie, come back.
John, get back here!
Marie! Marie, come back!
Young man, for heaven's sake, she's got more important things on her mind, stupid.
Let me go, Angie! Marie!
And there, that's a beautiful moment. No narration, no explanation, but you felt everything that you needed to feel there. And our compliments are heartfelt thanks for creating a work that's truly memorable. So, and everyone, thank you for coming.
Let's get a group picture.
I just like wanted to see.